Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today group 22 want to present about the test. There are 3 persons in this group, Nila Agustin, Anis Rahma Hidayati, and Rahmat Hidayatullah. For the first explanation will be present by me, Nila Agustin. A T-test is a type of statistical test that is used to compare the means of two groups. It is one of the most widely used statistical hypothesis tests in pain studies. There are two types, parametric tests and non-parametric. T-test can be divided into two types. There is the independent test, which can be used when the two groups under comparison are independent of each other, and the paired test, which can be used when the two groups under comparison are dependent on each other. The tests are usually used in cases where the experimental subjects are divided into two independent groups, with one group test with and the other group treated with B. On the other hand, paired T-tests are used in different experimental environments. For example, the experimental subjects are not divided into two groups, and all of them are treated initially with A. For the next is parametric tests. Parametric tests are more about the most part required test data to make a stronger conclusion than non-parametric tests. However, to use a parametric test, the parameters of the data must be true or are assumed. First, the data need to be normally distributed. The data also need to have equal variance and have the same standard deviation. Finally, the data need to be continuous. Commonly used parametric tests are described below. Meanwhile, for the parametric versus non-parametric, the inferential statistical procedures discussed in this book have been categorized as being parametric versus non-parametric tests. Some sources distinguish between parametric and non-parametric tests on the basis that parametric tests make specific assumptions with regard to one or more of the population parameters that characterize the underlying distribution for which the test is employed. Some sources describe non-parametric tests as making no such assumption about population parameters. The reluctance among some sources to transform interval or ratio data 12 into an ordinal or tank-ordered or categorical format for the purpose of analyzing it with a non-parametric test is based on the fact that interval or ratio data contain more information than either of the latter two forms of data.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In here I would like to explain to you about T-test. And what is T-test? T-test is also known as student T-test. It is a statistical analysis technique that was developed by William Silligold in 1908. Means to control the quality of drug beers. A T-test used to test whether there is a difference between two independent sample means is not different from a T-test used when there is only one sample. However, if there is no difference in two sample means, the difference will be close to zero. Let's extract two independent samples from a population that display a normal distribution and compute the difference between the means of the two samples. The difference between the sample means will not always be zero if the samples are extracted from the same population, because the sampling process is randomized. And which results in a sample with a variety of combination of subjects. Thank you very much. Bila saya wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to me again. I am Anisra Hidayati. Today I would like to explain about the special chapter. The chapter is about the parametric and its correlation and the T-test. So I will explain about the correlation. So before, my friends Mas Dayat and Delima have explained about T-test and parametric. So here I would like to read and I would explain this about correlation. Check it out. As note, both natural experiments only provide correlation information. In point of fact, there are a large number of correlation measures that have been developed which are appropriate for us, with different kinds of data. Measures of correlation are not inferential statistical tests, but are instead descriptive measures which indicate the degree to which two or more variables are related to one another. Upon computing a measure of correlation, it is common practice to employ one or more inferential statistical tests to evaluate one or more hypotheses concerning the degree to which the variables are related to one another. So, although correlation can be computed for more than two variables, the primary focus in this paper will be on behaviorist correlation procedures, which are procedures that measure the degree of association between two variables. In these typical correlation studies, score on to measure a variable are available for a subject. A major goal of correlation research is to determine the degree to which a subject's score on one variable can predict that, if one knows the score of the subject on the second variables. As a general rule, although there are exceptions, the value computed for a measure of correlation or association will usually fall within a range of values between 0 and an absolute value of 1. This is about the correlation. So if you want to complete information about correlation, you can check in the paper about the correlation or in chapter correlation or the point 3. Okay, this is about the correlation. If you have any question about this material and special about the parametric test and correlation, please you send your question in this Google Classroom. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope this material can make you know and can improve your information or your knowledge about the QRM. So don't forget to send your question. Okay, the last for us. I am Anisra Hidayati. Thank you very much. The last for us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.